Test.
Yeah, test. Okay. Good morning and welcome to the judges, teachers, guests, and participants of 13 Frsis 2025. Now, I would like to introduce our judges today. The chief judge is Dr. Noor Adillah Madzin, Senior Lecturer, Faculty of Hotel and Tourism Management, University Technology Mara, Selangor, Malaysia. The second judge is Ms. Shafika Amira binti Saleh from SMS Pasir Putih. The third judge is Ms. Fakrani binti Abdul Rahman from SMAP Labu. And I, Dini Busaina binti Nur Fazli from SMS Muzaffar Shah, while the timekeepers, Arif Safwan bin Muhammad Izwan and Dani Asfa bin Darul Azwan, are from Sekolah Menengah Sains, Kuala Selangor. Now, allow me to read the rules. Each team should consist of presenters and a technical assistant. The presentation must focus on the sub-theme assigned to the team. The duration of the presentation should not be more than 10 minutes. The bell will be rung once at the 9-minute and twice at the 10-minute. A question and answer session will be conducted after each presentation. Now, I would like to invite the first team from Sekolah Menengah Agama Persekutuan Bentong to present.
Today, we dive into the world of ecotourism at Dibilul Agro Farm and Retreat to uncover a single truth. Did this green industry really help local workers to survive, or is it just a dream wrapped in greenery? But before that, Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. I bid to the honorable judges, cunning timekeeper, moderator, and lastly, audience in the hall. Today, we stand at the intersection of nature and livelihood, questioning a critical truth. Can ecotourism truly pay the bills? From the perspective of local employees at Dibilul Agro Farm and Retreat, Bentong. Together with my team, Najla, Amme, Muizuddin, and our lovely supervisor, Madam Fatin, we will present to you our case study. Now, all might be wondering why Dibilul Agro Farm and Retreat out of all places? Well, ladies and gentlemen, it is because it offers employment opportunities to the local people, especially after the COVID-19 pandemic, where a lot of people at that time lost their jobs and are looking for a source of income. Next. And are looking for a source of income. Next, to further strengthen the credibility of our research, I will show you the graph of the monthly loss of employment in Malaysia from 2019 to 2020. Next, I will also show you the graph of the number of people employed in the ecotourism industry in Malaysia from 2014 to 2023, whereas you can see from 2021 to 2023, it is gradually increasing. Next. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to ask you a question. Does ecotourism truly help local people escape poverty? Well, at first glance, ecotourism does provide employment opportunities for the people. But here's the catch. The wages that they receive are not sufficient to meet the living costs, owing to the fact that the current salaries have not kept pace with the increasing living costs, according to Berman 2022. Hence, our study tries to explore if ecotourism truly help reduce poverty and show to you that monthly wages alone are not enough to cover daily needs. Next, our research objective. We have three. First, to assess the economic benefits gained by the local people and how it helped to reduce the living cost of burden. Second, to examine whether education level and working experience may or may not affect the range of salaries among the employees. Third, to evaluate local employees' perception towards ecotourism and how it changed and in ecotourism in changing their standard of living. Next is research questions. I will not be elaborating them because all of them are based on the research objective themselves. Next. is what do we use what method do we use in our research? Well, ladies and gentlemen, we use qualitative method where we use semi-structured interviews with 5 local employees at the below agro farm and retreat. This is to discover their thoughts, their experiences, and their opinions on the below agro farm and retreats that can reveal new data um, and inform theory development. Next, this is the background of our interviewees, which I will not be elaborating. However, I would like to emphasize that 4 out of 5 employees that we interview has have side income. This further strengthen our case study. Next, next. This is a data analysis of our participants, which I will also not be elaborating. Okay. Before I start, Before I start with our RQ, I will show you the clip of the interview. One of the clip. Okay. Now, moving on to the discussion of our RQ. Our first RQ, what are the economic benefits gained by local employees and how it helped to reduce their living cost burden? Well, ladies and gentlemen, the local employees we interviewed stated that they receive a lot of economic benefits, and one of them are healthcare services, accommodation, and skills acquirement. These benefits not only eliminate the need for them to worry about medical bills or gas expenses, but it also open doors to future opportunities owing to the fact that they acquire various skills from working at the below agro farm and retreat, thus boosting their chances to acquire other jobs. Next, research question number 2. Do the education level and working experience affect the range of salaries among the local employees? Well, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to emphasize that Debilot Agro Farm and Retreat is still in a developmental phase, hence its limited financial resource. As a fact, as as a result, local employees there receive similar wages despite differing qualifications. For example, interviewee 3, who is a biodegree science holder and has done less 1 year working experience, and interviewee 5, who is an SPM graduate and has 5 year working experience, receive similar wage, which is 1,700 ringgit monthly. Next, our last research question, which is number 3. What are the local employees' perception towards ecotourism in changing their standard of living? We have 4 bullet points. First, improve living standards in rural areas. Second, acquire new skills for character development. Third, evaluate gender roles and responsibilities. And lastly, offer jobs and incomes for local. Ladies and gentlemen, before ecotourism was built at Dibilut, around Dibilut, Dibilut was once an area with stagnant, which which is Dibilut is an area that is stagnant with no developing facilities and so on. However, after ecotourism was built around Dibilut, the area became more progressive, and facilities were built and were developed, and the locals also had easier access to resources. Next is evaluate gender roles and responsibilities. Evaluate gender roles and responsibilities. In today's world, the world is changing, and so women and men are now and I'm sorry, evaluate gender roles and responsibilities. The world is changing, and over time, women and men have equal qualification and opportunities to make the world a better place. For example, our interviewee, Mr. Razali, who is the breadwinner, have to provide for his family. Meanwhile, our interviewee number 1, which is named Miss Shifa, is the although not the main contributor of her family, she still felt the need to support her husband by working at ecotourism to earn more income. Now, this concludes that men and women have a similar role in living today's reality, ladies and gentlemen. Now, next, what are the recommendation to improve the below agro farm and retreat? First, we have social media exposure. Second, develop facilities and infrastructure development, and lastly, technology and smart management. These are vital to attract visitors locally and internationally as to generate more income for the below agro farm and retreat. This also affect local employees as they receive better wages and better income to improve their livelihood as well as their families. However, we do acknowledge our limitations, which is that we only interviewed 5 local employees from the below agro farm and retreat, which can cause a misinterpretation, causing biased results, according to Byman 2016. Now, to sum it all up, yes, we do believe that ecotourism reduce poverty. However, it cannot 100%ly pay the bills and cover living expenses, and thus side jobs and side income still need to be done in order to make ends meet while living in this money-driven reality. And so I have never been prouder to present Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Now, I would like to invite participants to take the mics and ask questions.
Right. So, Assalamualaikum. My name is Muhammad Hadif. I'm from Spinta. So the first question I would like to ask, why did you guys choose the Belut Agro Farm and retreat instead of a more famous place like Genting Highlands?
Thank you for the question. We chose the Below Agro Farm and Retreat because it is a genuine representation of economy of community based ecotourism. Unlike famous destinations such as Genting Highlands, the Below Agro Farm and Retreat directly involves the community by providing employment opportunities, especially after the COVID-19 recovery period. Additionally, the Below Agro Farm and Retreat has smaller scale than famous places such as Genting Highlands, which let us observe the root impact of ecotourism more clearly. That's all from me. Thank you.
Okay, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Okay, my name is Alimah Sarah and I'm from Sepinta. I have a question. Okay. In what way does ecotourism fail to fully alleviate poverty among local communities?
Thanks for the questions. So, ecotourism fail to help the local community by sometimes it failed to help local community because the monthly wages isn't insufficient to help their monthly expenses. So they need more money to help their expenses. So the ecotourism could build on the communities.
Assalamualaikum. Very good day. Okay, my first question was asked already regarding your reason to choose the Bilut instead of other cool businesses because Bentong is very famous for ecotourism businesses, Kuala Gandah, Tanah Aina, Jandabai, places I didn't get to explore before. Uh, Anyhow, the question goes, you mentioned about how your limitation is actually the small sample, and you also quoted Bryman, in which he has also mentioned that if you actually do a purposive sampling, then that would not be an issue because with qualitative research, you can actually gain saturated data even when you're not talking to many, even just one will actually do. So my question is, you mentioned that you have interviewed 5 employees. All right. So I wonder if you have done any follow up with the owner or the manager, someone of another group of respondent. Thank you.
Yes. The 5 local employees that we interviewed includes the manager, which I presented earlier, which is Miss Shifa. She is the manager who runs the place. And yeah, we also have different perspective because not only we interviewed Miss Shifa, but also the local employees under her, which meant that we have a lot of perspective, different views, and different opinions.
Thank you for the interesting presentation. Ladies and gentlemen, may I invite the next team, Sekolah Menengah Sains Hulu Selangor, to present.
Testing, 1, 2, 3.
Hello.
Now, I would like to invite the next team from Sekolah Menengah Sains Hulu Selangor to present.
May we start now? Oh, okay.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, and a very good morning, I bid to fellow judges, fellow teachers, and all of my beloved friends. Today, we will be talking about the sub-theme that was given to us, which is Sub-theme 1, Zero Hunger, where we had to explore social enterprises and ecotourism, a symbiotic approach to poverty alleviation. Now, to narrow down our scope, we came up with a topic of our own, which is integrating biotechnology into
ecotourism, and social enterprises to acquire zero hunger, a model for rural development. Now, before I continue, allow me to introduce you all to our team members. Our team consists of me, myself, Ryan, Teacher Zana, Anaki, and Siu, and we are representing Hulu Selangor Science School. Now, I know what some of you may be thinking. Our topic is quite wordy. What does it even mean? Well, let me break it down to you. Ecotourism is a tourism directed towards exotic, often threatened natural environments that is aimed to support conservation efforts and observe wildlife. Meanwhile, biotechnology is the utilization of biological processes for industrial and other purposes, especially the genetic manipulation of microorganisms. And lastly, social enterprises are a business that exists to solve social or environmental problems, not just to gain profit. Therefore, when we say we want to integrate biotechnology into ecotourism, we mean we want to use modern science to enhance and elevate tourist experiences. Based on our research and studies, the problem statements are some regions don't have beautiful natural attractions to become ecotourism sites, and they miss out on ecotourism income. Therefore, we can turn to biotechnology as a smart alternative because when ecotourism is impossible, biotechnology can help solve this problem. As we all know, effort without vision is wasted energy. Therefore, we created a few objectives to our project. Firstly, we wanted to see how effective biotechnology really is in making the crops grow better by knowing the difference of when biotechnology is used in ecotourism versus without. Aside from that, we wanted to know how ecotourism can bring income and jobs to rural areas, all while still protecting the environment. And lastly, we wanted to really pinpoint social enterprises' role in making sure that food goes where it's needed and not wasted.
So, ladies and gentlemen, all what Bilkis has said raises a matter of concern. How actually does biotechnology aid in increasing ecotourism in rural areas? Well, before we dive deeper into our presentation, the methods we use to complete our research are case studies, online research, and surveys via Google Form. The results to our surveys from 247 respondents are most are tourists or visitors. Here, the majority of them agreed that by integrating biotechnology, it will improve the local food security in a community. And lastly, over 60% answered they think training and education is the best way to provide support or resources.
Ladies and gentlemen, prepare to have your mind blown because I'm about to tell you all about biotechnology's potentials. Firstly, biotechnology could generate up to 5 trillion in economic value. That sounds big, but how so? Well, one of the ways that biotechnology could generate an economic value is through local agritourism. Local agritourism is when tourists come to local biotech farms, learn about biotechnology there, and also buy the eco-certified products. This shows that biotechnology really does in helping the locals get income. Aside from that, biotechnology could also repurpose up to 4 million square kilometers of land. That's about the whole size of India. Well, repurposing land means taking an abandoned or less fertile land and reviving it using biotechnology. One of the examples of this are through micropropagation. Micropropagation is when we take tissues from a plant and putting the tissues in a special liquid that contains plant nutrients, and slowly the tissues will grow and duplicate the set plants that we took the tissues from. Moving on, biotechnology also reduces CO2 equivalent emissions by 3 to 4 gigatons, which is actually 5% more than the global emissions back in 2022. Well, this is because one of the contributors to CO2 equivalent emissions are the chemical fertilizers used by farmers in their crops. Therefore, using biotechnology, we could solve this problem by replacing the chemical fertilizers with biofertilizers, not only making the air cleaner for the tourists, but also making the crops safer for the tourists and locals to consume. And lastly, biotechnology could save up to 500 billion cubic meters of water.
Ladies and gentlemen, not a lot of people know that actually a lot of water a lot of water is wasted at ecotourism sites. This is because of the accommodations, such as the toilets or the hotels. Aside from that, places that have landscaping also need continuous irrigation, and tourists also produce a lot of wastewater that are often dumped untreated. Now, if we multiply that by hundreds and billions of tourists a year, water use actually adds up really fast. Therefore, we can use biotechnology to solve this problem. One of the examples are through wastewater recycling, which is taking a filter and cleaning the water from sinks and showers and saving up in hotel water uses.
So, ladies and gentlemen, here is a graph representing biotechnology's market size from the year 2023 to the year 2024 in USD billion. This graph was published by Towards Healthcare, a prominent researcher in sectors involving biology. And also, market size means the total amount of revenue that can be generated by something, which in this case is biotechnology. As you can see, in the year 2024, it will already be up to 5,000 billion. That shows that biotechnology has a lot of potential to grow in the future. So, in our research, we focus on on the application of biotechnology in Doitong. Doitong is a rural place in Thailand, and they have proved that by applying biotechnology, it can increase their income and also their ecotourism. Doitong is Doitong used to be an industry for opium cultivation, which, if you didn't know, opium is a type of drug. So, how does biotechnology increase ecotourism in Doitong? Well, tourists come to Doitong for educational visits to learn about how they apply biotechnology to their agriculture via agritourism, as Bilkis had said. So, the increase and high quality making of coffee and macadamia also attracts the tourists to buy from Doitong, adding more to their revenue. Let's watch a video together. What are some initiatives that social enterprises should take? For starters, they can highlight the potential of emerging regions like Doitong or other unexplored, undiscovered gems that to make them have the chance to earn their own income. Also, they can work alongside local communities by employing marginalized groups such as women, ethnic minorities, and also people with disabilities who are usually unemployed due to certain prejudices. So, Doitong has shown us that indeed, by applying biotechnology, it can increase ecotourism and also increase their income while tackling zero hunger through social enterprises. But to achieve such impact, the local community needs to have proper farmer training to ensure the maximum potential of biotechnology is utilized, while the policymakers need to provide incentives for sustainable eco-travel. That is all from us.
Thank you.
Now, I would like to invite the participants to take the mic and ask questions.
Hmm?
Okay, kita.
If there are no questions from the fellow audience, I would like to invite the judges to give questions.
All right. Thank you, moderators, and congratulations to Sekolah Menengah Sains Hulu Selangor
Yes.
Thank
for
you.
great presentations. So, based on your presentations, you are trying to explain that the integrations of biotechnology with ecotourism
Yes.
in reducing the zero hunger issue. All right.
Yes.
So, in your opinion, in Malaysia itself, where will be the best suitable place to implement your suggestions? As this study, it's more focused on Thailand, right?
Yeah.
As a case study, yeah. Thank you.
Okay. So, do you mean by places that have already integrated biotechnology or places that should integrate biotechnology?
Is there any place in Malaysia that already integrated biotechnology with ecotourism?
Actually, yes. Cameron Highlands is a perfect example to your question because Cameron Highlands, they use micropropagation, which, as you know, is tissue culture and all that stuff. And also, they use biofertilizers, while also the tourists can come to the strawberry farms on Cameron Highlands to learn about agritourism, to learn about the strawberries and also how they apply biotechnology there. Does that answer your question?
Yes, it is. But when we talk about Cameron Highlands, it's also involved with the high use of fertilities for the agricultures. So do you think the Cameron Highland itself do implement the biotechnology effort to reducing that issue?
Yeah, I'm sorry, I didn't quite catch that. Can you repeat? Sorry.
Okay, so in Cameron Highland itself, there's an issue related to the use of high fertility for the agriculture products, right?
High fertility.
Fertility. Fertilizer. Fertilizer. Sorry for that. Fertilizer. So, do you think that it's really fully implemented the biotechnology effort?
Oh no, in my opinion, I think not really because some parts in Cameron Highland they have implemented biotechnology, but also while the other parts are still using chemical-based fertilizers. So, does that answer the question, or should I elaborate more?
It answer, it's a good answer. Yeah, it makes sense. Meaning to say, the Cameron Highland itself is not fully utilized the
Yes.
biotechnology and ecotourism.
Yes.
So yeah, thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Okay, good presentation. I just
you.
want to
Thank you.
ask about your. Just now you mentioned about the factor, right?
The graph.
The graph.
Hmm?
May I know what sources that you take
Oh.
from? Because it's not mentioned there. Is it in Malaysia or outside?
No, sorry. It's an international research company focusing on biology.
Yeah, better you include that because we are wondering. I'm wondering actually. I'm not sure about other judges because you should include that in your next slide. All right.
Yeah,
Thank
sorry.
you.
Welcome. So, any more questions from the audience or the judges?
Okay, just one more question. Because I looked at your abstract, your title itself, it says that you have a model for rural development.
Yes.
So, what model is it exactly? Is it simply the implementation of biotechnology?
No, the model we mean in our topic is Bentong itself. Because Bentong can provide as a model, as an example
study.
for other rural areas to follow. Thank you for the questions, judges and audiences.
Thank you for the fascinating presentation.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello?
Yes, yes.
Thank you.
Yes.
Test. Yes. Yes. Ladies and gentlemen, I would like to invite the next team from Sekolah Menengah Sains Miri to present.
Test, 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 test. Hello and good day, everyone. We are from Science Tree. Before we start with our presentation, let us introduce our team. I'm Falila, the presenter.
I'm Elshi, the moderator,
The co-reporter, Mr. Farrell Ken.
and Nabil Lukman, our technical assistant.
Our title of presentation today is Miri Crocodile Farm, a social enterprise model in action. Let's take a look at what SDG 2 is. SDG 2, or Zero Hunger, aims to end hunger and to achieve food security. At the same time, it improves nutrition and provides sustainable agriculture by 2030. What about social enterprise? Well, there are businesses to achieve specific social objectives as its primary purpose. Now, let me talk about ecotourism. It consists of all nature-based tourism where the main motivation of the tourist is the observation and appreciation of nature as well as the traditional cultures prevailing in natural areas.
There are two research questions in this research, which are what are the farm's economic and social contributions to the local communities, and how does Miri Crocodile Farm, also known as MCF, functions as a social enterprise? That being said, there are two research objectives in this study, which are to investigate the farm's economic and social contributions to the local community and to explore how MCF functions as a social enterprise. Now, let me talk about a brief background on Miri. Miri, or often celebrated as Malaysia's oil town, is also home to the Miri Crocodile Farm cum mini zoo, a notable ecotourism destination. It is located just next to our neighboring country, which is Brunei Darussalam. In addition to housing over 1,000 crocodiles, to the mini zoo features various exotic animals.
Next. Moving on to the scopes and limitation of this research. The research only focuses on one side, which is Miri Crocodile Farm, so we can really explore how MCF can contribute to Miri ecotourism. Next. As for the limitation, there's a restricted time frame where it took us only one whole day to explore MCF and interview the farm operator. So there were some questions we were not able to ask. For your information, this is a qualitative study where the main instrument used was an interview. We also did an online in-depth research to investigate and analyze the information of our findings. Observation at the farm was also conducted to look at sourcing access, sustainable practices, and challenges.
Now, let's dive into our findings. Here we have made an analysis of the interview conducted with the farm operator. These are some transcriptions from the interview with the farm operator. Next is the brochure and website is to dig some information that is related to MCF. What we found that MCF is registered on the sites, and it also has educational displays where it shows the life cycle conservation and educational conservation efforts. Next. Now let's move on to our one-day site visit. These are some pictures that we took, and more explanation will be given later by Falila.
Next. So how does Miri Crocodile Farm function as a social enterprise? First, it provides economic sustainability where it earns money via entry fee, guided tours, and souvenir sales. It also empowers community empowerment where it provides local employment and small local businesses. Next.
The farm also benefits from tourism income. There is an entrance fee varies based on age and the nationality. It provides a hands-on experience where the visitors can buy seeds and bottles of milk for animal feeding. Photo booth is also provided as where the photographers at site can capture our best moments. With the fee of only 10 ringgit, the visitors can feed the crocodiles themselves. Next.
Well, how about this contribution to the local community? Well, MCF functioned as a learning center as visitors get to learn the animals and interact with the goats and horses by feeding them meal and corn. Another way it is increases awareness wildlife conservation, where it explains about the animal food chain such as snake eats the mice.
Next. Now, MCF also supports the nearby farmers and traders as the farm promotes conservation and awareness. It also invests in neighboring stores, such as hotels and the supermarkets. It also generates tourism income from visitors to other tourist attractions in Miri, such as Nia Cave and Petroleum Museum. Next. Next. The visitors can benefit by learning and enjoying via nature-based experience. When we did the trip, we experienced enjoyable and engaging activities where we have close-up glimpse of the animals. We also can connect classroom theories with nature, like biodiversity, as mentioned by Elsie just now. And with connecting with nature like this, visitors will learn to value and respect nature.
Now you heard about MCF. So why not we take a look at other social enterprises from all around the world with the same initiative. We'll start with BGBG initiative in Malaysia, where it aligns with SDG 12 that to upcycle waste into products and produce eco workshops. Next is the Copenhagen Zoo in Denmark. It uses the district heating system operated by HOFOR and the elephant house built using the climate-friendly materials. Other than that, Singapore Zoo employs water-saving technology and uses the eco-friendly materials in the zoo's infrastructure. Last but not least, Taronga Zoo in Australia practices recycling and turn the animal waste into compost.
Next. Now, how does MCF align with Zero Hunger goals? Our study connects with SDG 2 or Zero Hunger by showing how Miri Crocodile Farm supports local food system by sourcing from local markets and traders, which they can boost their income and provide food security. The farm also reduces waste by using animal waste as fertilizers, promoting sustainable agriculture. Next. By creating jobs, educational tours, and developing eco-friendly tourism package, the farm empowers local community and raises awareness about responsible food production and contributing to ending of hunger. Here are some of the recommendations for improving the sustainability and conservation at Miri Crocodile Farm. First, we suggest to develop eco-friendly tour packages that focus on conservation education and low cost travel. Other than that, the farm should collaborate with NGOs or university on crocodile conservation, like educational research. Next. For future research, we suggest that using tools like CCTVs or drones to monitor the crocodile behavior naturally without disturbing them directly. This will ensure us to have more accurate data and reduces stress. The farm also can explore alternative feedings that are sustainable and cost effective while still meeting with the animal's nutritional needs. Ladies and gentlemen, to briefly highlight the To briefly highlight how Miri Crocodile Farm functions in ecotourism and community empowerment, while it's not a traditional ecotourism-based, community-based project, the farm contributes meaningfully by creating jobs and encouraging public encouragement efforts, helping to reduce poverty in the area. This is a great example how ecotourism, social enterprise, and conservation can come together in one initiative. With continued support and stronger partnership with local communities, the farm has the potential to grow into a stronger social enterprise where promoting sustainable agriculture. Is MCF a social enterprise model in action? Yes, MCS is. Thank you.
Now, I would like to invite participants to take the mic and ask questions. If there are no questions from the fellow audience, I would like to invite the judges to give questions.
Right, thank you, moderator, and congratulations to Sekolah Menengah Sains Miri. Okay, I just wonder how significant is this Miri crocodile farm in generating job opportunity to the local people and indirectly help to improve their economy level.
Thank you for the question. Let us discuss in our group first. Thank you. Well, the Miri Crocodile Farm is located near the sea. So there's nearby fishermen and villages. So the villages will work in the Miri Crocodile Farm and generates income. Does that answer your question?
All right. Yeah. All right. Talking about, I thought you mentioned about another animals there. Is it? It's a goat and horses.
Yes.
Yes,
Is
it
it,
is.
is it in part of the Miri crocodile farm?
Yes.
Okay. Right. Yeah, just quite curious about that. Right. Because last time there in Sanakan also they have a crocodile similar to this, but most probably all crocodiles are inside, right?
Yes.
And some fish. Right. I want to ask, in what way does Miri Crocodile Farm contribute to means is it more to eco-friendly? Is there any part that you are helping out to preserve nature a bit? You mentioned more about economy. Yes, I agree. Yes, maybe you can suggest one of the one way that the Miri crocodile farm will helping out to the nature itself. Maybe just a bit also. Okay. All right. Thank you.
Yes.
All right, thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Yes. So your question is, do you want how the farm impacts the environment?
Jawab je. Aku tak faham. Can you repeat your question again, please? We didn't catch that. Thank you.
And can you just give example in what way that this crocodile farm means help preserve a bit, maybe part of the nature, more or less a bit. It's not too much, right?
Okay, thank you. Well, most of the crops that were given to the animals were grown by the farm itself, and the mice you saw in the presentation was raised by the farm itself, so that the snake can have a better and healthy food source. Does that answer your question?
Oh,
Okay, thank you.
yeah, thank you. Thank you for the fascinating presentation.
Thank you.
Bakar bahu.
Test.
Test. Nice.
Test. Thank you to Sekolah Menengah Sains Miri for the amazing presentation just now. Ladies and gentlemen, may I invite the next team from Sekolah Menengah Sains Raja Tun Azlan Shah to present.
Every step you take leaves a positive mark.
Isn't it incredible that ecotourism lets you experience nature's wonder while helping it to protect for future generations? Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
and a very good morning to the esteemed panel of judges, dedicated teachers, my fellow teammates, and all members that are present here. We are honored to welcome everyone to our presentation titled Harvesting Hope, a vertical farming with soft shell crab in Kuala Gula. This title reflects our commitment to the overarching theme, ecotourism, navigating challenges and shaping a sustainable future.
Our focus narrows down to the sub-theme Social Enterprises in Ecotourism, a symbiotic approach to poverty alleviation, which aligns with Sustainable Development Goal 2, Zero Hunger. Before we dive in, here's a quick overview of what we'll be covering today. This presentation contains 6 elements in total.
So here where things get more exciting. When people hear about crab, they usually think of a hard shell and a lot of work for just a little meat. But soft shell crab here is a game changer. Soft shell crab is packed with proteins, minerals, and healthy fats. The whole crab is also edible, making it super versatile.
But not all that glitters is gold. As we explore these challenges, we were lucky enough to have guidance from Assistant Professor T.S. Dr. Zinat Begum Yusof from the Kuliah of Architecture and Environmental Design, International Islam University of Malaysia. Her expertise in sustainable development was a big help in shaping our research. Soft shell crab farming faces several environmental issues, and one of the issue is overharvesting. Crabs are often caught too young before they can reproduce because of high demand and weak rules. While farming meant to ease pressure on wild crabs, many farmers still take young crabs from the wild because the technology to raise them fully in farms isn't there yet. Also, mangrove forests, where crabs naturally live and breed, were being cut down for buildings, farms, and also firewood, which put mud crab population at even more risk. When all these three factors come into play, they severely impact mud crab population.
So, as for the impacts, the first impact we have on coastal communities. Communities that rely 100% on this type of farming can risk significant income loss. And for the next impact is on ecological consequences. Mud crabs plays a key role in this mangrove ecosystem, and the loss of it could allow invasive species to take over them.
Well, that is devastating, Shazwan.
Well, it is, Sarah. Fortunately, we know exactly what needed to be done.
The goal of our research is clear: to find out what people know and think of soft shell crab farming, boost soft shell crab farming in Kuala Gula with eco-friendly methods and hatcheries, and last but not least, the most important, to create more jobs and income for locals.
As for our methodology, we choose a combination of quantitative and qualitative approaches to meet our objectives. On the screen, you'll see some key examples of both approaches. After extensive brainstorming and discussion, our team finally arrived at the most suitable direction. So Sarah, where do you think lettuce is grown?
On a farm, in a big field,
Well, that's true, but what if it was grown inside a building?
inside, like on shelves.
Wait, what do you mean by shelf, Sarah?
Vertical farming. It refers to growing crops on a stacked layers, usually indoors.
So Sarah, are we helping the local communities by harvesting these plants upwards?
Not really, Shazwan. Vertical farming is more than just about maximizing space. It enables food production on a small plot of land and in areas where traditional farming may not be feasible.
This concept aligns perfectly with the focus of our research, soft shell crabs. Our team believes this fusion could revolutionize the whole mud crab hatchery system by combining two key factors, soft shell crab cultivation and vertical farming. So Sarah, have you ever wondered why soft shell crabs are pricey? Sometimes even more pricier than your Spanish latte?
Wow, really? Why is that, Shazwan?
Well, Sarah, producing high quality crab meat isn't that easy. It needs special techniques and controlled environment. But over the years, vertical farming methods have improved significantly.
One of the key technologies in vertical farming is automated monitoring. It's like a fitness tracker, but for crabs. In this case, we integrated IoT, Internet of Things sensors, as a key technological component to enhance efficiency and sustainability. Specifically, they help us to track critical parameters such as water temperature, light intensity, and also motion, which are the core factors that directly affect crab health, molting cycles, and also their behavior. In simple words, it lets everyday things become smart and do more on their own.
So, wondering how it all works? Here's a simple breakdown. So firstly, we have IoT sensor, which is a powerful device that always monitors. Secondly, we have data collection. It's via Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, or your cellular data. Thirdly, we have data processing. It's either by local or cloud-based system. Fourthly, we have user interface. It's either by an app or a dashboard. We also have decision making. It's either manually by us humans or automatically by AI. And of course, the last one is automated control system, which executes necessary actions immediately.
Moving on to the next topic, which is stacking tanks. Crabs are kept individually or in a small group. This will help them to stop from fighting or eating each other. This setup also makes it easier to monitor each crab molting stage. Next, moving on to recirculating aquaculture system. Water is filtered and reused. In this way, it keeps the water clean and healthy for the crabs.
So why is this system good? Well, this system provides lots of beneficial positive outcomes, such as space efficiency. Since tanks are placed one above another, we can keep more crabs in more smaller areas. As for sustainability, like Sarah stated before, water is filtered and reused, so we don't need to keep changing it all times. And for biosecurity, since crabs are not kept too close together, there will be no fighting and cannibalism issue. And of course, the last one, all year production. Since it's indoors, crabs can be farmed all year.
Apart from that, we conducted a survey of 150 people on a questionnaire. And on the screen, you'll see key details about them. These are some of the questions that we included in our questionnaire. On the screen, you'll see key details about them. And these are some of the questions that we included in our questionnaire. And as you can see, more than half of our respondents agreed with all these factors. The pie chart confirms varied opinion, but need to reinforce address all causes together.
So as for our next question, most of our respondents believe that decreased land usage and deforestation is the most recognized benefit of vertical farming. It reduces habitat loss and pollution that may impact on marine life. To keep social crab farming going strong, we also need to protect natural habitats. It is also important to teach young people about it to grow their interests. Local communities can get involved too, ultimately boost our modern industry.
Most of our respondents believe that social crab farming can help fight hunger. Social crab farming works best when we take care of nature and get people involved. Buying from local crab farms can help the environment and also supports our community. These are some of the dishes that we favorite. We usually buy it during our school outings. And nearly everyone we heard from, or should I say, the entire community, felt the same way for sustainable food production and environmental conservation. These social enterprises show real success. It's really a proven method.
So, as for our own recommendations, firstly, we have optimal location. It is to max the space and minimize the environmental impact. Next, we have post-harvest handling. It is to ensure the high-quality crab meat to attract premium buyers. And lastly, feeding schedule. It is to keeping the crabs healthy and ready for the market demand. Together, these strategies provide and intensifies benefits. But before we conclude, we want to recognize the valuable resources that shape our insights. These strong foundations really help on our research.
Sustainability is no longer optional. It's essential. Social crab vertical farming is more than just a solution. It's a revolution in aquaculture and ecotourism. With smart farming, better feeding, and bigger thinking, we can drive real things. Let's not just discuss the future, let's lead it. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for your time. I now open the floor for any questions.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Sure. My friends.
Okay, so is it really a humane way to put crabs in like those, as you see, like the blue containers? Yes, it is space efficient, but is it really a humane way? Because they don't really live in the natural environments. Maybe the seawater will help, but they don't have like the plants or other things that can help them so they don't stress out. Thank you.
Thank you for your question. Well, it's basically open because we look at other farmings, fish farming, prawn farming, all of that stuff is the same thing. So we are actually helping the crabs because as I stated in the presentation, crabs are known as cannibalistic. And we can see like before we walk down the Taman Alam and we see the mangrove forest there, and we see the deforestation. So why we need to put it in there? Why we can help them by reducing their stress, reducing the cannibalism, and basically like helping them a lot and giving them a land, a place to stay. Is it answer your question?
I suppose it does. Thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Is there any question? Okay.
Okay, hi. I have a question regarding your problem statements. How does the high demand of soft shell crabs lead to deforestation? Can you please elaborate?
Deforestation. Deforestation. Can you repeat the question again? Sorry.
Yeah, sure. How does the high demand of soft shell crabs lead to deforestation? Please elaborate.
Okay, because of as you can see, for buildings, they need something that is sourced from mangrove, and when the demand is high from
Market.
for market demand is high for mangrove, they will cut down the trees, and when it is done,
Well,
Well-
it's actually because of okay, how to connect it. When we can see the deforestation, actually the high demand from when we deforest the forest, we can see that there's a leftover crab, so it's very high demand, and it's basically like the market inflation. So yeah, I think does it answer your question?
Yes, it does. Thank you.
Thank you. Aduh, betul.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Okay, I have one question regarding your presentation. Is about crab vertical farming, correct? Okay, so in what way does this crab vertical farming can help in sustaining local income? Thank you.
Okay, thank you for your question. And as you can see, but soft shell crab vertical farming can produce all year round production. And this is because they do not farm the crabs on outside. They farm the crabs inside. And this will reduce the climate impacts that can be farm the crabs all year and can sustain the local income because they can run their business all the time.
Okay. Does that answer your question?
Yes, it does.
Okay, thank you.
First, why do you guys choose Kuala Gula as your research site?
Okay, thank you for your questions. Okay, as you can see, Kuala Gula is a coastal village and it's a mangrove area. And mostly the locals at Kuala Gula relying on fishing, but their income isn't always stable. So by introducing soft shell crab vertical farming, we can offer a more sustainable solution, create more incomes, and also improve their livelihoods.
Does that answer your question?
Yes, thank you.
Thank you. Is there any more questions from the participant? Okay, I think that's all from us. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Sekolah Menengah Sains Rajutan Azlan Shah.
Test.
Testing.
Now, I would like to invite the last team for this session, Sekolah Berasrama Penuh, Integrasi Rawang.
Ladies and gentlemen, in a world where hunger haunts millions of people, can the footsteps of youth be the answer? But before that, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, and a very good morning to the honorable moderator, esteemed panel of judges, timekeepers, and my distinguished audience. Today, my teammates and I will be presenting about a topic entitled Youth in Action, Ecotourism as a Pathway to Zero Hunger. Ladies and gentlemen, this research explores how youth can contribute in eliminating hunger through the lens of ecotourism from Sepintar student perspective. Now, here's our team members. Let's make it quick and short. On the left, we have Muhammad Hafiq Hakimi, our brilliant technical assistant, Muhammad Hadif serving as our moderator, Alin Maisara, our rapporteur, and I, Nur Aisyah Khadijah, as the main presenter. And not to forget, our wonderful teacher advisor, Mrs. Aida, who guided us throughout this whole project. Now, let's take a look at the table of content. We have introduction, current issues, problem statement, and so on. Feel free to read it along the screen. Now, let's focusing on the main topic of our presentation for today, the definition. I'm sure in order for us to understand this topic firmly, let's begin with the term ecotourism. According to the Google, ecotourism is a form of nature-oriented tourism that help conserve the environment. It has three main exclusive characteristics. The first one, it has minimal impact toward the environment. Second one, it support conservation efforts. And the last one, it provide environmental education, both to the local and tourists. Now, how about zero hunger? Zero hunger is one of the goals that set by the United Nations to achieve four main key aspects. The first one is ending hunger, achieving food security, improving nutrition, and promoting sustainable agriculture by the end of 2030. But ladies and gentlemen, now how about who are the youth? The main topic of our subject for today. According to the United Nations, youth are those who age 15 to 24 years old. However, this definition is actually varied by country. For example, our country, Malaysia, we define those who age 13 to 30 years old are the youth. And did you know that it's actually over 27.3% of population around the world is the youth, which is about 1.8 billion people. But ladies and gentlemen, what is actually going on around the world right now? The United Nations said that it's impossible and unattainable for us to achieve this zero hunger by the end of 2030. So we come up with a solution that youth play a crucial role in eliminating hunger through ecotourism. Our problem statement for today that we realize that youth involvement in ecotourism in Malaysia still remains low. So we come out with a solution that this research exploring how the perspective of youth in Sepintar actually agree that youth can actually contribute in eliminating hunger through ecotourism. Two main objectives that we want to achieve by the end of this presentation. The first one, to understand the awareness that youth can contribute in eliminating hunger through ecotourism. And the second one, to analyze whether they agree that youth is better in eliminating hunger through ecotourism compared to the older generation, everybody. Now, two methodology that we use. The first one is case study. The first one is questionnaire and online survey.
And the second one is case study analysis. Let me explain to you further. The first one, of course, we do literature review where we read articles, books, research, and so on. And then we conduct a survey to 50 students in Spinta using Google Form. And at the end of the day, we receive 50 responses to support our case for today. Now, let us welcome Muhammad Hadif to explain more.
Thank you, Aisha. Ladies and gentlemen, to support our research on how youth can help fight hunger through ecotourism, we refer to various sources such as books, articles, and online websites that show how young people can bring fresh ideas and promote sustainable food through education. To understand this better in our local context, we also carried out a questionnaire among the students in Sepinta to see their awareness and interest in ecotourism. For the questionnaire, we have conducted an online survey using Google Form and shared it with 50 students by picking out 10 persons from each batch, making sure there's an equal number of boys and girls. Next, let's move on to the data that we obtained from the Google Form. The first question we asked whether the students know what ecotourism is. Well, 84% of female students answered yes, and 16% of female students said no. On the other hand, 40% of male students said yes, and 60% of male students said no. Next, we asked them, have they ever visited an ecotourism destination before? Well, 19 female students said yes, and only 6 female students said no. But there are 10 male students said yes, and 15 male students said no. Although there are many students, especially male students, have never been to ecotourism places, yet the majority still believe that, which is 19% of the respondents agree that youth can eliminate hunger through ecotourism. But we asked them, in your opinion, why do you think youth is better in combating hunger? 56% of them choose next generation food producer because they believe that youth are the next generation of farmers, ensuring the local food continues to grow sustainably through eco-related farming. Secondly, there are 28% that choose creative and fresh ideas because they think that youth can bring new ideas, use modern technology, and apply eco-friendly methods to improve food system. And lastly, there are 16% that choose community mobilizer because they agreed that youth can mobilize local communities to participate in food security, making ecotourism a united force against hunger. And lastly, we asked them, how do you think youth can exploit ecotourism to eliminate hunger? Well, most of them choose to use social media because they can promote eco places and farms to attract tourists and also sell local foods like herbs and honey. And the rest of them preferred to join volunteering programs such as YTV, which is Youth Tourism Vibes that has been introduced by Ministry of Tourism, Arts and Culture. For your information, YTV is a national program that train and involve youth in tourism by focusing on ecotourism places, especially rural and indigenous places. What did they do basically? They train youth to be eco guides. Secondly, they encourage youth to be agro entrepreneurs, and lastly, they support youth to run homestays by giving incentives.
All right, everyone. To sum up, we conclude that the female students are more knowledgeable about ecotourism compared to the male students. Why? It is because the female students had already went to an ecotourism destination before. However, we actually believe that both female and male students know about the ecotourism. Next, most of the students in Sepinta believe that youth can contribute in tackling hunger through ecotourism. Why? The first one, because they are the future food producer. Second, they have innovative skills and fresh ideas. And lastly, they are the agent of change and community mobilizer. Lastly, majority of students in Sepinta agree that social media is better in exploiting ecotourism to eliminate hunger, while minority of students in Sepinta believe that volunteering in volunteer program can eliminate hunger. All right, now let's move on to the suggestion. We all believe that the government
should promote the STEM education and empower youth with vital skills. Why? It is because these vital skills can drive us to innovative ecotourism, which these steps could help us in protect our Mother Earth by eliminating hunger. Lastly, communities can establish youth-led eco-farm hubs where young people manage the sustainable farming to gain income, which this income will provide foods for the underprivileged. Here are the links for our reference to our research. I think that's all from us. Thank you.
Now I would like to invite the audience to give any questions.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. I'm Sarah from Raja Tun Azlan Shah Science Secondary School. And my question is, why do you think volunteering programs receive fewer votes compared to social media in your survey? Thank you.
Thank you for the question. So as I mentioned earlier, that the youth are those who define as 13 to 30 years old. In our survey, we are conducting this survey for 13 to 17 years old. So this is actually because of the age factor. Okay, first of all, when we are students, especially 13 to 17 students, we are lacking of transportation to join this volunteering program. We need our parents' permission and so on. So that's why we use social media, which are more convenient and it's mobile, so that and I'm really sure that most of these teenagers nowadays, we have handphone, iPad and so on, that we have social media to promote this local product and so on. So that's why I think that it is minority of them choose volunteering because of some factors that I mentioned earlier. Does that answer your question?
Yes. Thank you.
Thank you. Just
Okay, so in your opinion, why is it that the boys in Spinta know less about what was about ecotourism rather than the girls in Spinta?
So this is actually, for me, it is not actually a worldwide factor because, for example, as a female student itself, we used to go to the nature places like ecotourism for healing purposes or such as taking pictures for our Instagram feeds and so on. And I think that for the boys, they are more likely to go visit like because of family reason, family holiday reason or stuff like that. So is that answer your question?
Yes, it does. Thank you.
So, how can you attract youth to get involved in ecotourism? Thank.
Right. As we mentioned earlier, we can use social medias. Exactly. We can use social medias to promote eco places and attract tourists to come to the ecotourism places. And by using social media, because most of us have social media, right? And so to conclude, I think that social media is the best way to attract youth to attract youth in ecotourism activities.
Thank you.
So I'm Izzuddin from Smart Bentong. So I have a question for you guys. Why did you guys choose only 50 students in your school as your respondents?
All right. So we chose 50 students in our school because the minimum value for valid questionnaire is at least 30 response. So we pick 10 students from each batch and 5 students and 5 girls to make sure there are equal numbers of boys and girls, and because everyone has the right to
Basically, we want to know whether each ages they are aware or not about ecotourism, and at the same time, we want to make it equal both gender, males and females. Does that answer your question?
It does. Thanks.
If there is no more question from the audience, I would like to invite the judges.
Okay. congratulations to Sekolah Berasrama Penuh Integrasi Rawang. Okay, a very simple one because it's really triggered me to know since your data stated that the youth become the food producer. That team is you are getting from the response from the Sepitar student. So, in your opinion, do these respondent have a plan to become a food producer related to agriculture? You know what I mean? Because that's the main theme. They feel that, oh, I will be the food producer. So is that really what they want to be in the future?
So basically, so the question asked was whether the student in Spinta wanted to be the next food producer, right? Okay, so in our opinion, we believe that because they think that youth can actually, youth are the one that will be the future leader, because we want to make sure that youth these days are well prepared, so that we want to make sure that on the future it will sustain our ecotourism sector.
Because youth are the next generation that will be the next generation of food producers. Because if the youth themselves doesn't have interest to become the next generation of food producers, then who are going to be the food producers in the future? Is that answer your question?
Can I add a bit? Okay. And also, because as the time pass, the technology has much more advanced. So doesn't mean that in the future that they will be going to the farm and stuff. Maybe we never know that maybe in the future they can actually farming actually in the house or something.
Okay, hi everyone. Well done with the presentation. I just wanted to add a few things, not really a question, but I think the reasons why we are asking and people are asking about the questionnaire is because I understand your reason for choosing just 50 students, but there is like a certain equation that you have to go by actually. If you have, because you are basing it in your whole school, right? So you have to know the whole number of population at your school and do certain calculation to get an exact number that will contribute to a valid sampling actually. Okay, so just something to bear in mind for your juniors. Okay, and another one is that when you do questionnaires, we were very curious because your questions were close-ended, meaning they have to choose one if they don't want to choose all. No matter what, they have to choose. So even if they don't want to be the next food producers, they will have to choose it if they disagree with other reasons. So you have to bear in mind that whenever you are making questionnaires, and because we are researching on topics that people have actually researched, and you have also mentioned that you have a certain research that you looked at for your literature review and whatnot, your questionnaire choices, options should always be based on people's research, the experts' researches. Okay, but altogether, very good effort. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. With that presentation from Sekolah Berasrama Penuh Integrasi Rawang, our session has come to an end. Everyone may be dismissed. Thank you.